Hi people, you're looking at a transfer case from a 2016 Ford Everest. This is a vibration dampener on the end. There's a little bit of wiring that goes into the back end of these as well. But here is the drain point, just located behind that vibration dampener and the fill point. We need to remove that vibration dampener before we can easily access the fill and the drain point. Now over the years and for different models they might all look a little bit different, however this general process is going to be exactly the same. I also have a small metal guard that fits underneath this transfer case which I'm removing as well, just to get better access. With those removed, I think it's really important to give it a good clean down before we open these two plugs up. I'm just using some degreaser here and then some compressed air just to blow it all dry and make sure that there's no dirt hanging around when we undo those two plugs. Always start by loosening the fill plug first. This is just in case it's too tight and you start to have troubles. You don't want to have drained it out and then not be able to refill it with fluid. Also over the years there's been a number of revisions with the type of plug and what tool you'll need to undo these. So make sure you have the right tool before you start. Now with the top plug out and removing the bottom plug, the fluid will be free just to run on out. It is fairly thin fluid, so it will run out quite quickly, so have a catch pan ready. Now you're going to be draining about 1.2 litres out of this, so make sure your pan is big enough to catch all of that fluid. So while the fluid is draining out, it's a good time to clean up that drain plug. Now there will be some sealant on the threads from the factory. Make sure you clean up any excess there just so it's not going to go into the transfer case when you put it back. And I'm putting a little bit of fresh thread sealant on here. Make sure you clean up the hole, that there's no more fluid dripping out or you've waited long enough, and then run that plug back in. Now you need to do that up fairly snug and firm, you don't want it to come out. There have been different torque specs over the years, so just use a little bit of common sense on how tight you're putting that in. Now with the drain plug in place, it's time to refill the transfer case. I'm just using a small hand pump here and just pumping it straight from the bottle. Remember it's 1.2 litres of fluid that you will put in, so my small pump here was quite a few pumps to get it up. Once it is filled, you will see fluid will begin to weep out of the fill hole, and this way you know that you have filled it up correctly. Make sure you clean any old thread seal off the plug before you put it back in. You just don't want any of those particles dropping into the transfer case. Put a little bit of new thread sealer on it before you put it into place, and then do it up nice and snug and tight. Okay, with that done, I suggest you just give it a good degrease or spray off. Hit it with a bit of compressed air if you've got access to that, just to make sure that it's all dry, and then you can install the small section of metal framing that went underneath it, followed by the vibration dampener, and that's done. I'd suggest you take the car for a quick drive, double check for any leaks, and that's it. Hey, thanks for watching. Any comments or questions, make sure you put them below, and check out some of my other videos.